Hello and welcome to another Crochet with Cris tutorial. Today's tutorial is just going to help you read patterns a little bit better when they talk about the front of loop, the back of loop, the front post, and the back post. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So you're reading a pattern. It tells you to double crochet in the front post only. And you wonder, what in the world does that mean? So this is a small swatch that I had from other tutorials. And basically what you're going to do, just to explain this, you're going to look at the top of the work and you see each stitch is a V. Well, normally when you do your crochet, you put your hook in under both and you get the whole V on top of your hook. When you are just going to double crochet in the front loop only, that's literally the front V loop. You do not put your hook under the back one. So let's do that. I'm going to yarn over to start my double crochet. And I'm going to put my hook in, the front loop only, maybe. So now when I put it in, I only have one loop from that stitch on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through just as I normally would and complete the double crochet as I normally would. Now if you're not familiar with what a double crochet is, I highly suggest you check out my other video, which is the quick stitch tutorial. So let's do another one of those. We're going to double crochet through the front loop only. Instead of going through both on the V, we're just going to capture the front. And we're just going to do that again. So the only difference between that and a regular double crochet is that you're just capturing the front loop instead of both loops of the stitch. So let's do that again. Yarn over. Just making sure we only grab that one. Now, whenever I do it, and I don't know if this is normal, it pulls the front loop a little bit out of proportion, and until I get some more stitches on, that first one always has a little bit of a gape. And I'm not a fan. But what I am a fan of is back loop only. So it's the same thing, except instead of going in the front loop, we're only going to put our crochet hook in the back loop. Now what I like about back looping is it creates a ridge, a very nice, very decorative ridge. It's very subtle. You don't have to worry about changing colors for people to see it, but they can see it, and it gives a little give too. These front and back loops, double crochets actually make it a little more elasticy. So you might find a lot of hat patterns, and like cuffs for mittens will use front and back loop only patterns. So let's do it again. Why not? We're just going to put our hook through that back loop, pulling through, and we're going to finish that double crochet like nothing was wrong, nothing different. You can see here that the lip is starting to form. So let's go ahead, may do a couple more just so you can see that effect, because I've done Afghans and other than a color change, I did it through the back loops only, and it really gives a nice effect. So I think you can really start to see that lip showing up. Here's a nice flat from the regulars, and here's the lip from the back loop double crochet. So let's go ahead and finish this row out and move up to the next row where I can tell you about front and back post. Chain 2 and turn my work. Alright, front and back post. Usually when you're crocheting, you obviously are going through the top of the stitch. Well, this is the post. The post is actually the full stitch that you created in the row below. It is not the stitch on top. Again, it is this post of a stitch. So when they tell you to go through the front post, whatever stitch it is, this is I happen to be using double crochet, I'm going to yarn over just like I normally would in a double crochet. But instead of putting my hook through where I normally would, I go through the front of the post. And then I yarn over and pull through and complete my double crochet as normal. And as you see, what this does is it takes the bottom post and pulls it out. It makes this look like a really long stitch. Very much so cabled. A lot of cable patterns use the front and back post crocheting. So let's do that again. This is the front post. I've yarned over. I'm going to go through the front post of the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and I'm going to treat it just like a regular double crochet. It makes a very interesting, very thick, cable-y, very squishy. I wish you could feel it, but you can't. So let's do one more through the front post, just so you can see that happening. And now back post is essentially the same thing, except instead of putting your hook through the front of the post, you're going to go around to the back of the work and do the post on the back side. Yarn over and pull through just like you would a normal double crochet in this case. So you see it offsets this one, it pulls it up towards the back while these are being pulled towards the front. So you can see where this cabling, it's a combination of these stitches going through the front and back posts that are really going to give that the complicated look, even though the stitch itself is technically one of the very most basic crochet stitches that you can learn. So let's do another one. Yarning over, I'm going through the back post only. Yarning over and pulling through. Maybe. Oopsie. And then I'm going to handle it just like I would a normal double crochet. Now when you do this with a smaller stitch like the half double crochet, what it does is it'll bend this V almost completely out because the stitch height is very short. It's not a very tall stitch. So it makes almost like a raised ridge. It's a very interesting effect. So let's go ahead and do a front on these last three, because heck, why not? We might as well make it look cabled even though it's just a test swatch, right? And on that note, I'm glad that you watched. I hope that you learned and found this video easy to follow. Please leave a comment. I would appreciate it. And happy crocheting. Have a great night, everybody.